Hey folks, it's a man once again, and another random video that I wanted to do for everybody out there. Inspired by a good friend of mine, the top 10 favorite and least favorite Eddie Murphy films, at least to me. Now, Eddie Murphy, I grew up with this guy, Eddie Murphy, and I've given the guy shit recently. I know on a BS cast I did with my friend Efrey. Uh, we were talking about the films of 2012, and he gave a lot of crap, mainly because his new film, A Thousand Words. Now, have I seen the film? No, because I'm not paying to see a movie like that, because I think the idea is stupid. I mean, Eddie Murphy, he's made bad decisions. I mean, back in the day, the guy passed on Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but yet he's going to accept a film like A Thousand Words, where the whole premise is about a magic tree and leaves fall every time you speak, and the whole point is he can't speak or he'll die. And I'm like, why don't you text? Why don't you write, draw, use fucking sign language, the middle finger, I don't know. Take a fucking pencil or pen and just write it out. The whole idea, premise is like, what? So you basically, Eddie Murphy, what he's famous for is his wit, his mouth. And now we're gonna make a movie and about him not speaking. Okay, that's like hiring Arnold Schwarzenegger to play a guy who's in a wheelchair for the whole movie. Hell, I could use Jackie Chan or Jet Li, hiring him to play a guy who's in a wheelchair for the whole movie. Doesn't make a lot of fucking sense, does it? But, or having Michael Jordan act in the movie and he doesn't do any basketball. It doesn't make any sense. And A Thousand Words has gotten horrible reviews. I mean, so far, at last time I checked, on Rotten Tomatoes, it gets at 0%. Zero. That means like one person has not given this a good review. 0%. Not that movies get 0%. Like, really. I don't know if I can think of any other movie that has gotten 0%. Yeah, still it's 0%. 50 reviews, 0 good ones. All 50 are shit. This is consistent. Dated Jokes, A Thousand Words was shot in 2008. And removing Eddie Murphy's voice, his greatest comedic asset, dooms this painful mess from the start. Who knows? It may be one of those films, and maybe by some remarkable way, I'll see it and be like, you know what? It's not great, but it's not the worst film ever. I mean, again, this film 0%. Like, not one critic has liked this film so far. It's sad. I mean, I give the guy shit because the Eddie Murphy I grew up with, you don't see him that much anymore. I did see Tower Heist. I thought the film was okay. I know the original idea was the fact that it was going to be a group of... Basically, Brett Ratner had wanted to do Tower Heist. Always going to Eddie Murphy and Chris Tucker and Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle, and Eddie Murphy was into that. But then Brett Ratner changed course. He's like, well, I don't want to do that movie anymore. Want to do something else. So he got Ben Stiller, and then he still wanted to work with Eddie Murphy. So Eddie Murphy looked at the script, go, oh, okay, and he went into not the lead, because originally Eddie Murphy was going to be the lead that Ben Stiller played, and never. To be honest, after seeing Tower Heist, I'd much rather see that film with Dave Chappelle and Chris Rock and Chris Tucker and Eddie Murphy. Even if it was bad, I still like to see it. It'd be like, I didn't mind growing up, seeing everybody in there, or Expendables. That'd be nice to see that movie, Eddie Murphy and Chris Rock and Chris Tucker. be a penny, quite a penny, but hell, they did it for the Expendables, and that was a hit. And I like the Expendables. I don't even mind Grown Ups. I think it's one of Adam Sandler's better films of recent, in my opinion. It's a lot better than Jack and Jill. But Tower Ice was okay. Eddie Murphy was okay. But I remember my friend Effrey was talking to me about it. It's like, well, the thing is, I don't want Eddie Murphy's comeback to just be, oh, he's just okay. Because the guy can do better. I think that's why I give the guy a hard time. Because he's stuck in doing these family films. He doesn't do R-rated stuff anymore. I don't know if Dreamgirls was rated R. I'm sure. I haven't seen Dreamgirls. If not, probably Metro was probably the last one, and I really love Metro, but that flopped horribly. But anyway, before I get to the list, I found this thing here. It's a page from an old, I think, Cinescape. I'm not sure if anyone remembers that magazine of Cinescape. And it's always nice looking at these old issues. I only have a handful. Like this was for the upcoming Independence Day. Because they didn't know anything about it. I mean, this was a time when John Carpenter's Vampires, well, that wasn't being made yet. Instead, it was going to be directed by Russell Mulcahy. That's what this article on the back says. And a TV show that Leonard Nimoy directed the premiere and helped produce called Deadly Games. Fall series from Fox about a computer game that comes to life. I haven't even heard of that. But this is the bit here. I just wanted to mention this since I'm talking about Eddie Murphy. A movie that could have been. Kind of like a video I did not too long ago. I would really have liked to have seen this, especially at this time when I think Metro hadn't come out yet, but I like Metro. So if it was anything like Metro, I would like it. I think it was a film at one time Wesley Snipes was in talks for as well. But it's called Sandblast. Tagged in the industry as Die Hard in a Desert, Sandblast is about a demolitions expert who must navigate a deadly terrain laced with landmines. Once the final details of the deal are worked out, Murphy should begin filming Sandblast for Warner Bros. Soon after completing his next project, a remake of Jerry Lewis's comedy classic The Nutty Professor. Since his mid-80s heyday, Murphy has seen some hard times at the box office with disappointing films like The Distinguished Gentleman and last year's Beverly Hills Cop 3. But as a proven, if rusty star, Murphy still commands a high salary and high hopes from both studio execs and fans. That's weird. Night Professor was a huge hit, so whatever happened to Sandblast? I just wanted to mention that because I would like to have seen that film. You know, and sorry, it has nothing to do with it, but on the same one you see Arnold there. This is talking about Eraser. And Warner Bros. And I have been trying for a long time to find a project that we could do together, the series Eraser. We had come very close to it in the past with Sergeant Rock and Captain Blood. Captain Blood? So what, Arnold was going to do, what, a pirate movie? Captain Blood? Those projects are still being developed specifically for Arnold, as is the new Planet of the Apes project. Remember when Arnold was going to do Planet of the Apes? I'd love to see that, to be honest. Schwarzenegger, oh, look at this. Schwarzenegger has been quoted as saying that his pet project, Crusade, is finally a firm go. The medieval epic, dropped by Caracal Pictures last year because of its $100 million price tag, will be directed by RoboCop helmer Paul Verhoeven. I just had to read that. It just made me sad. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Paul Verhoeven were going to team up again after Total Recall for a film like Crusade. Paul Verhoeven. And Arnold. Be interested to see what Captain Blood was too. But anyway, I know, getting off topic. But on top of it, I like to see what Sandblast was. Sandblast. I like the idea. A guy whose job is to take out landmines. He's in a terrain. He's to be better. It has to be better than best defense. But I would like to have seen that. You know, a guy who has to make jokes because it's a touchy business and he's taking care of landmines and stuff. That I don't know. That's an interesting idea. I like that idea. But it's better than some of the other stuff. But getting to Eddie Murphy, again, I grew up with this guy's films, and I'm hard on him because, he's just been doing family stuff, which is, I do have a hard time on a lot of them. At the same time, I realize they are meant for kids and families, so it's maybe not meant for me. But, getting to his worst, starting off with going backwards. Number 10 in my worst of Eddie Murphy is the disappointing film Beverly Hills Cop 3. I own it because I want to own all of Eddie Murphy's films, like the collection. There's some I don't have. Like, I don't have Holy Man. I don't have Harlem Nights. I don't have Imagine That. I don't have Life. I don't have Norbit. Let's see. I don't have Showtime. Uh, Imagine That. Meet Dave. I don't have that. Only just to have a collection, the collection of his movies. Maybe one day, because I'm low on money right now. I'm not really spending money right now. Maybe one day when I get some extra cash, maybe I can. But who knows? Anyway, we'll see. Hopefully one day. But anyway, Beverly Cop 3 was a disappointing film. Now, it's at number 10, because I will admit, I don't hate this as much as I used to. Like, I can watch this as a time waster. Seeing it again, I can watch as a time waster. Because I can watch this more than the films I don't talk about. I can watch this more than most of his family stuff. It's just, for Beverly Cop 3, it's disappointing. It's a disappointing movie. Now, what I mean by time waster is, there's some bits I like when he's driving the car and the car keeps falling apart. Okay. I always like seeing Judge Reinhold in there. Okay. I don't mind the amusement park idea. I think that's where a lot of people didn't like the amusement park idea. I don't mind the amusement park idea. It's just that even though this is rated R, Eddie Murphy just isn't that witty in this film. He's just not. And it's because John Landis explained later on that he wanted it to be more funny. He wanted Eddie to be more funny. But Eddie Murphy wanted to be more of an action guy right at this point. He's like, no, Axel Foley in Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, he was a kid. He's got to grow up. Well, this is Axel Foley growing up. I rarely see him as a kid. Because Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 I hold in very high regard. Very high regard, as you'll see when I talk about my favorites. But this one, I mean, I can watch it because it is Axel Foley. He's kind of like John Rambo, John McClane. I like the character, so I can watch it. But again, I guess with time, it's become a little bit more watchable. But it's just not as funny. It's not as entertaining. Serge, that character from the first film, did not need to be in the film. He has a ridiculous fucking goofy ass fucking gun. Judge Reinhold, again, it's nice to see him in the film, but he's very underused. I don't like the fact that they don't have Ronnie Cox back. I don't like the fact that they have. I'm trying to see what years these were made, because this was 84. And then Beverly Hills Cop was 87, so only 3 years later. And then this was 94, so 7 years later. Longer period of time. I don't like the fact that John Ashton is not in the movie. I don't like the fact that Ryan Cox wasn't in the movie. I don't like the new tape they do on the score. Did Harold Folk? Who did the score for the second film? I just want to make sure on something. That's what I thought. I knew there was something off with that. It's not scored by Harold Faltermeyer. I mean, he did the first two films, but not this one. And also, as a friend of mine once pointed out, these two films were produced by Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson. This was not, and it shows, because the action scenes are not as good as the first two. It's not as witty as the first two. It's not as fun as the first two. The villain is lame. This has a lot of problems, Beverly Hills Cop 3. Even the cover is lame, is lazy. Like, look at the covers for these. They have certain something to them. Here is just a fucking backdrop and like it's nothing to it. So it's lazy. Beverly Hills Cop 3, its main problem, it's lazy. That's the best word to call it. It's lazy. You could do better. Come on now. Now, I remember I actually told my friend Efrey my list, and it actually changed because at number 9, I had a film on there, but I just watched it again recently. It's not good, but it's not as bad as I remember. It was Meet Dave. Originally, it was Meet Dave at number 9. But I watch it again. It's not as bad. I mean, again, I'm not going to do long-ass reviews for these, but Meet Dave wasn't as bad as I remember. Although it makes me wonder, like, Eddie Murphy, if you want to play a little person inside a body, why don't you just do, I don't know, Inner Space 2? Don't give him ideas. But, like, there's that idea that they were going to do, what, the incredibly shrinking man with Eddie Murphy? I remember that. Obviously, that never came to be. I know a while that movie Meet Dave was going to be Starship Dave, and then I think one of the writers is actually the guy from Mystery Science Theater 3000, who also voices Crow T. Robot. He's one of the co-writers of Meet Dave. I mean, there's a lot of stupid gags in it, but I don't know. It wasn't as bad as I remember. So, again, I like to get all the films in my collection, but like the ones I mentioned before, I don't have them. Maybe one day. But instead, I had to put this film at number 9. Imagine That, from Nickelodeon. So like I said, number 10, Beverly Hills Cop 3. Number 9, Imagine That, because it's a Nickelodeon movie. I hate Nickelodeon. And it's just Eddie Murphy, a girl, and her blanket. That's really what it is. Him, his little daughter, who has an imagination with her blanket, and somehow with her blanket, she can see, like, someone's telling her about the stock market. Not the stock market, but, like, or maybe it is, I don't know, like, stocks and all that shit. Like, come on, man. This is, I know it's a family film, but I'm like, come on, man. Would you still like to have that in your collection? Yeah, to own all the Eddie Murphy films. I would like that. So yeah, I would like to own Imagine That for the collection, but, you know, I can't rush out. I don't have the money right now. But Imagine That just, I remember not being as funny and kind of lame. Number 8 would be Harlem Nights. Very disappointing film. I know Harlem Nights was the film that Eddie Murphy directed. And it was him and Richard Pryor and Red Fox, and I'm like, okay, you need all these guys together. And the movie's just not that funny. It's just not that funny of a movie. I'm sorry. I don't understand why it had to take place a period piece. It's like that film with Clint Eastwood and Burt Reynolds, City Heat. I'm like, Or even the Forbidden Kingdom with fucking Jackie Chan, Jet Li. I hate that sometimes they get these guys together. It's gotta be a fucking period piece. And I'm like, why? Why can it not be in today's age, which is more of what we want? I'd rather see Jackie Chan and Jet Li in a film a la Kiss of the Dragon or Rumble in the Bronx. Not fucking, Once Upon a Time in China shit that I don't like. So with here, like, why not in today's age? See, I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. I mean, the period didn't interest me. That the period that took place did not interest me. It just wasn't that funny. Richard Pryor's not even in it that much. I just didn't find it that funny. Harlem Nights. So I don't like Harlem Nights. Number 7, The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Eddie Murphy, maybe you should take a step back from sci-fi. Just this and Meet Dave and even Haunted Mansion. Imagine that, 1,000 words like. Well, they're not sci-fi, but a little bit fancy. Maybe you should just take a step back from them. Stop doing those kind of movies because they're not working out well. And that's the thing with Eddie Murphy. I like him. He's made a lot of movies I like. The guy has had a lot of chances. Think about it. Imagine that. Big flop. Meet Dave. Flop. Holy Man. Huge flop. Adventures of Pluto Nash. It cost over $100 million. It made like $7 million. $7 million out of a $100 million budget. Plus whatever they had for marketing. And shit. So more than that. And it made $7 million worldwide? From my last check? $7 million. That would kill most people's careers. Just straight out kill them. And Eddie Murphy's kept going. Even though he's made more flops. Haunted Mansion was not that big of a hit, folks. Neither was Imagine That. Neither was Meet Dave. 1,000 Words, definitely not. Tower Heist wasn't that big of a hit, to be honest. Tower Heist, I don't even think it broke even in the United States. Tower Heist. So it didn't do that well. It wasn't really that much of a hit. At best, it was an okay movie at best. So Eddie Murphy, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. But I see other guys who, like Jeff Speedman and Mark Dacascos and all these other guys, they don't get as many chances as Eddie Murphy has. So, it's like, wow, I like Eddie Murphy, but how come he gets all these chances with these big budget movies? He just big budgets for his films. And Pluto Nash, other than the fact it was a big bomb, I'm not a fan of the movie because, again, I did not think it was that funny. I thought the jokes were rather lame, like the money with Hillary Clinton on the bill. I hated Randy Quaid's character, his annoying-ass fucking robot shtick. He was so annoying in that film, I really was felt my ears were going to bleed. It didn't seem like much happened during the film. It kind of felt tedious at points. Lame gags, not many laugh out loud moments. The ending, they give right away that it's going to be a clone at the end because, in the first act of the film, was it Peter Boyle or someone? I forget who. I forget who it was. Basically said, oh yeah, the head boss guy, some say he's a clone. Gee, I wonder, he's a clone. I wonder who he's a clone of. Is it going to be Randy Quaid? Or is it going to be the... Oh, I bet it's going to be Eddie Murphy, right? They give the ending away in the first act. It's like... He said clone. Ding, ding, ding. So, and for $100 million budget, you're like... Where did the money go to? It's like they stole the sets from Super Mario Brothers, the movie. That's what the colony of the moon looks like. It looks like shit they stole from the movie Super Mario Brothers. Maybe a little bit of Judge Dredd, but Pluto Nash, I just did not like. I did not find it funny. Number 6, Holy Man. As a friend of mine would say, holy shit. It's almost like the movie was trying to have a point, but then fucking lost what the fuck its point was with Holy Man. Like, was the point about how, don't think about material things, but yet, it's about a shopping network and, oh, he's a guru named G. And it's one of those times where, you see a film and the specific person or the specific thing becomes this big national event, and I'm looking at what Eddie Murphy's doing and saying, and I'm thinking, why are people liking this character's stuff? Like he's on the Home Shopping Network or whatever, and oh, people are buying it, and I'm like, why? If I saw this guy on TV, I wouldn't buy his shit. Let's start kind of thinking, you're like, why the fuck is he becoming so popular? You kind of don't understand it. I know some people say you just gotta go with it, but I can't go with it. Just like Jeff Goldblum just seems lost in the movie, like he doesn't know what he's supposed to do at times. His romance with the girl doesn't work, doesn't gel. I don't know if it's just poorly written or what. I don't know, the Home Shopping Network thing, maybe it could work if it was, just Eddie Murphy as the wisecracker, but as, the G, and you kind of don't, at times, don't even get what the hell Eddie Murphy's character is trying to do. Like, he's trying to teach the world, but yeah, he's going to do it via Home Shopping Network? Isn't there a better way? Hell, why don't you get on the fucking church channel? I don't know. I mean, Holy Man just, I haven't seen it in a long time. I just don't remember not finding it that funny. Number 5, Haunted Mansion. Which I didn't buy this. Someone actually left this. So I said, okay, I guess I'll keep it. Someone left it. Haunted Mansion. It's so bad. Someone said, fuck it. But I kept it because, I'm collecting his movies. I have to say, like, the 5th time. Send me some movies, goddammit. I'm a bum. But really, seriously, for the longest time, I thought the Haunted Mansion was made because of Pirates of the Caribbean. But I think this was made the same year as Pirates of the Caribbean. I think 2003. I think this was made the same year as the first Pirates of the Caribbean. And that came out the summer. I think this came out in November or something. So Disney took the gamble of, oh, let's make the rides and the movies, and Pirates of the Caribbean was a hit, and this really didn't do that well. And I saw it again not too long ago, and it's pretty fucking bad. I mean, I think this was a film I actually was looking forward to when I first heard about it. Cause I'm like, okay, Eddie Murphy, hopefully, in a haunted house. I think because I'm always thinking maybe it'd be like The Golden Child or something like that. A normal guy, extraordinary circumstances. But the Haunted Mansion, I mean, I know, long story short, he plays a guy who sells real estate, takes his wife and kids to this haunted mansion. And I know it's based on a Disney ride that I barely remember going through. At the same time, I know the Haunted Mansion ride was first, but the fucking mansion made me think of The Haunting by Jan de Bont with fucking Catherine Zeta-Jones and Liam Neeson. And I'm not a big fan of that movie either. I mean, this film, it's a Disney film, so it's not meant to be scary, but it was never creepy. And again, it just wasn't that funny. I mean, I think they were trying to say, oh, maybe they're going to try to make it creepy, scary, and funny. First off, if you don't make it scary at all, you cannot have a haunted house movie like it's done here, or like in The Haunting. Very extravagant and heavy in architecture. And if it's gotta be either like a mental asylum, like the House on Haunted Hill remake, or Session 9. That's a great one. Or it's gotta be a normal place like Poltergeist. I mean, mansions like this, no one's gonna be scared of them, especially with this heavy, antiquated architecture. Of course, you go, well, it's not meant to be scary. It's a Disney movie. It's not that funny either. I mean, the film is 80 some minutes long, and Eddie Murphy just doesn't do that much. They get there, you have Terrence Stamp, which you could guess in 5 seconds that he's going to be the bad guy, and ooh, Terrence Stamp is the bad guy. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Kneel before Zod. Eddie Murphy gets locked in the wall and gets to a room. There's a crystal ball with Jennifer Tilly, and I'm not a fan of Jennifer Tilly that much. I really am not. Her voice just drives me up the fucking wall sometimes. That's why, like Child's Play movies, I prefer Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. Yes, I'll even admit right now, I could probably watch Child's Play 3 before Bride of Chucky. Because the more I think about it, the more I can say it. Because Jennifer Tilly just drives me up the fucking wall. I can watch Bride of Chucky. I like Bride of Chucky, okay. But, Jennifer Tilly just drives me up the fucking wall with her voice. And her in the crystal ball, and he rises up and flips around, meets with his kids. Oh, he's gotta get a key. Gets the key. You have zombies. Not great. I think Rick Baker helped on him, so the zombies look good. But they escape. They open a trunk. Uh, Terrence Stamp throws Eddie Murphy out and lets the kids in the trunk. Eddie Murphy goes back, goes through a corridor where you have knights trying to attack him, gets his kids, and gives this guy the fucking letter, and that's the movie. Like, really, that's all that happens. There's not much comedy in it. There's not much funny moments in it. It's just a really empty movie. It's like, what the fuck is up with this movie? There's nothing to this movie. Boring. Number 4, I admit I've never been a fan of the Night Professor films. Either one. Fat suits, fat jokes, fart jokes. It's just like the Tropic Thunder. If you see Tropic Thunder and that trailer parody that Jack Black does, that really says it all about those movies. I mean, you look at that parody trailer by Jack Black and Tropic Thunder, the beginning of it. That's the Night Professor to me. Both of them. Oh, how many characters? I never got into Eddie Murphy playing characters. That never interested me. I did not go see Eddie Murphy to see him play different characters. That just doesn't interest me. But he tries to do that all the fucking time now. How, he's like, every other movie, he's got to find some way to fit fucking makeup on him. Think about it. Uh, or some way, or play different roles. Meet Dave, he plays 2 roles. The ship itself and the little commander inside the ship. Uh, Pluto Nash, him and his clone. Norbit, fucking him and his wife, plays the same. Coming to America. Vampire Brooklyn, oh, I gotta put makeup on. And then he plays a fucking preacher and a fucking Italian guy. Life, he puts fucking makeup at the end of the movie. Night Professor films, especially. It just gets. I'm not a fan of that. That's not why I grew up with Eddie Murphy. That's not why I watch Eddie Murphy stuff. I watch him for his wit. But yeah, Night Professor films is fat suits and, you know, again, playing different characters. It's like, really, how many characters can Eddie Murphy play? I just never found it funny. I never found either of the Night Professor films funny. But Night Professor was a film that was a big box office hit for Eddie Murphy. It got him back on the course. And it ushered in a wave of fucking Eddie Murphy trying to do that kind of shit again. Not only in, family films with, he did Dr. Dolittle and which I can watch Dr. Dolittle. I don't have Dr. Dolittle films, but I could watch them. Dr. Dolittle films don't bother me as much because it's Eddie Murphy not playing different fucking characters. And I don't know, Dr. Dolittle didn't bother me as much as Night Professor. It's consistent like fart jokes and oh the dinner table. So I hate those movies. So it's already 35 minutes. This is gonna be a fucking hour, so I better hurry it up. So to recap my worst of Eddie Murphy so far. Number 10, Beverly Hills Cop 3. Number 9, Imagine That. Number 8, Harlem Nights. Number 7, Adventures of Pluto Nash. Number 6, Holy Man. Number 5, Haunted Mansion. Number 4, The Night Professor films. Number 3, Life. I know a lot of people liked Life. Again, I would take it in my collection but I don't own Life. I remember seeing it and just being depressed. Because they get charged for a crime they didn't really commit, do bullshit, and they literally spend life in prison until the end, where they get out and they're like 90 years old. Or they escape, or somehow and they're 80, 90 years old. And I'm like, this is fucking depressing. Okay, they finally leave, they get out, and probably 2 days later, they probably have a heart attack. I mean, it's just depressing. Like, wow, their whole life, they're spent in prison for something they didn't fucking commit. That they didn't do. And I think during the film, they actually find out who did it, and they can't prove it for some reason. And I'm like, it's this fucking depressing movie, Life. I mean, this is a comedy? When am I supposed to be laughing? Oh, hey, Eddie Murphy, more lawyers, they got life in prison, and they watch them serve them. Watch them serve their life in prison. Wow. That's fucking funny, isn't it? No. No, it's not funny. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get how that's supposed to be funny. It's depressing, and the ending is even more depressing. But they get out. Yeah, when they escape when they're fucking 90 years old, 80 years old. Fuck's sake. But anyway, number 2, Vampire in Brooklyn. I know there's some people who like this. I think Michael Caine likes this, and that's fine. I don't. Vampire Brooklyn. Kadeem Hardison and John Witherspoon are the best things in that movie. They really are. Kadeem Hardison steals the movie from Eddie Murphy. And this bullshit that Eddie Murphy said recently that, the only reason he did Vampire in Brooklyn was in order to get Night Professor, because the whole time Eddie Murphy had a contract with Paramount. He said, well, the only way I can break my contract with Paramount and the dude Night Professor over at a different studio is if I do Vampire in Brooklyn. And the reason it flopped was because of the wig I wore. Because people saw the wig and they're like, man, fuck that. What's he kidding? I'm not going to see the movie. Yeah, Eddie. The wig was, that wig was the biggest problem in the movie. Yeah. Yeah, that wig, man. If you didn't have that wig, damn, man, I would love the movie. First off, Eddie Murphy, I'm sorry, you're full of shit. You did not do the movie just because they did Night Professor. You say that now. No, you did the movie because you wanted to do something different. You wanted to do fucking Candyman. But someone was smart enough to not let you do it. Yeah, Eddie Murphy wanted to do Candyman. To play Candyman. You can be the biggest Eddie Murphy fan of them all, but you cannot tell me he could pull off Candyman. No fucking way. Tony Todd played that fucking perfect. Scary motherfucker. But he wanted to do something different. He wanted to do something scary. He wanted to do something that was just straight out horror film. And Charlie Murphy helped write it, which Charlie Murphy do not write any more movies because you helped write number one, which I'll get to in a little bit. But Vampire Brooklyn, like, Eddie Murphy wanted to be scary, so that's why he hired Wes Craven, because Eddie Murphy's a big fan of The Serpent and the Rainbow and The Hills of Eyes, the original. Because the remake didn't come out that time, of course. But he was a big fan of Hills of Eyes and Serpent and the Rainbow, so he wanted Wes Craven. And Wes Craven did it because he wanted to do something different. You know, because he had not done, worked with an actor like Eddie Murphy. Basically, Paramount wanted it to be funny. Eddie Murphy wanted it to be scary. And really, what the film is, it fails on both. I think Kadeem Hardison is the best part when he's on screen. Like, he keeps talking. Probably the one laugh out loud moment I can say is he keeps talking and Eddie Murphy goes, "Shut the fuck up! God damn it!" I don't know why. Just the way Eddie Murphy delivers it. And it's because of T.D.M. Harrison's reaction, too. It's like, "Shut the fuck up! God damn it." I don't know why. Just that made me laugh. But okay, wow. One fucking laugh. I think T.D.M. Harrison and John Witherspoon. If the film starred those two guys facing vampires, it'd be a better movie. It's just, I don't buy fucking... Sorry, there we go. I don't buy fucking Eddie Murphy as a as a villain. Angela Bassett did nothing for me. Her partner, the cop, Alan Payne, is fucking shitty actor. Like, no emotion. Eddie Murphy having to play different characters really felt forced in this one. Like, you really had to fit that in, Eddie Murphy. Him and Angela Bassett, like, their whole romantic thing was like, gad me with a fucking spoon. And most importantly, what pissed me off about this movie is I remember when I first heard about this movie, I swear I thought it was going to be Fright Night starring Eddie Murphy. That's what I thought. I thought, oh, wow, Eddie Murphy versus vampires. Cool. It's like when Dennis Miller did Bordello Blood, but maybe without the shitty ending. Like, Bordello Blood I would like without the shitty fucking ending that out of the blue, it's like, oh shit, yeah, we'll Tales from the Crypt. We gotta end in a fucked up way, so let's just kill Dennis Miller off. I hate that bullshit ending. Because I would have liked Bordello Blood without that stupid fucking ending. But that's what I thought here. I thought it was going to be Eddie Murphy fighting vampires. Wouldn't that be cool? Either he's a vampire hunter, or I thought it was going to be like Fright Night, where he's just a normal guy, but he finds this crazy shit happening. It'd be like The Golden Child, or something like that. Ordinary guy in extraordinary circumstances. Eddie Murphy and the Golden Child or Axel Foley type of wisecracker. And yeah, it would have been like Bordello Blood without the shitty ending. From Dusk Till Dawn and Fright Night and those kind of fun movies. That's why I wanted it to be. But no, Eddie Murphy had wanted to do something different, so he plays the villain, and it just doesn't work. And it's not funny. It's not scary. It's nice seeing little roles like Zacchaeus Mokai, the bad guy from Serpent and the Rainbow. He comes back to work with Wes Craven again. Mitch Pileggi, Horace Pinker himself from Shocker, he comes back in small role in here again. That crazy lead bitch from Wendy Roby, I think, from People Under the Stairs, she comes back in a small role. Like people who worked for Wes Craven before, that's nice. Kadeem Hardison is good, but it's not funny. It's not scary. I swear, if it was a film where it was Eddie Murphy against vampires, but it was like his wisecracking self, I think it definitely would have been a bigger hit, and it would definitely be a better movie. I don't care how shitty it would have turned out. It would be better than this movie. I don't buy this romance stuff with Angela Bassett. I don't buy him as a villain. I'm sorry. And number one, the big fuck you. The worst Eddie Murphy film I've ever seen is fucking Norbit. I know Michael Caine likes this film, and that's cool, but Norbit, I can't stand Norbit. I saw that one time. I never want to see it again. Oh my god, I never want to see that movie again. With Eddie Murphy playing a fucking like shrimp of a guy, and then his overbearing girlfriend wife, who's this fat ass bitch, play Eddie Murphy, and then Eddie Murphy also plays an Asian guy, very stereotypical Asian guy, and Cuba Gooding Jr. doesn't do shit from what I remember in that movie, and I'm like, this film is so unfunny. Eddie Murphy as that overbearing woman, excruciatingly unfunny. Unfunny. Almost to the point of fucking ghastly and offensive almost. Just horribly, horribly unfunny. Norbit. Just really fuck Norbit. I hate Norbit. That is his worst film. And that made some money for some reason. $95 million in the US. Why? I don't get. But those are the worst. Now I'll get to the best. I'll go quick on these because, I don't have much ranting to do. But as for the best of Eddie Murphy, at least my favorite, I should say, number 10, be Trading Places. Eddie Murphy has a lot of fun with his role. No features, unfortunately. Don't like the idea of the stock market because I never understood how the fucking stock market worked, but fun movie. So that's number 10. Number 9, I know people are going to be like, what? But this film, I don't mind really. It's a family film. But I don't want to, I just do not mind this film. Yes, that is Daddy Daycare. I did have fun with this movie. I liked Eddie Murphy in this film. The kids did not annoy me. I liked the kid who played his son. I thought the kid who played his son was cute. And he was actually pretty funny. I don't know. I did not mind the kids. I didn't mind his buddy. I forget what the actor's name who played Eddie Murphy's buddy. And I didn't mind Eddie Murphy himself. Daddy Daycare, for a family film, I had fun with it. And no, I did not see the sequel with Cuba Gooding Jr. But I had fun with Daddy Daycare. I will admit that. And that gets points because it surprised me. Better than I thought. Same thing with number 8, Showtime. I don't mind Showtime. I think it's okay. Robert De Niro and Eddie Murphy together. I mean, it's not laugh out loud laughs. But, I don't know. I like Robert De Niro and Eddie Murphy. I like them sharing the screen together. I thought that was cool. William Shatner is really funny in the in the film. I gotta admit. Rene Russo, though, she didn't really do much for me in the film, and I usually like Rene Russo, but in the Showtime, not much. But Showtime, It could have been better, but I know you're like, well, why is it above Trading Places? Trading Places, again, the whole stock market angle just, you know, lost interest for me. And Dan Aykroyd, I liked okay. But in that film, he's not one of my favorite performances from Dan Aykroyd. Eddie Murphy is really a big reason why I like Trading Places. Dan Aykroyd is just so. Jamie Lee Curtis is really good, but Dan Aykroyd, I've seen him do better, like in Ghostbusters and stuff. But in Showtime, Robert De Niro and Eddie Murphy, I like together. It's PG-13, I think, unfortunately, but that's how it goes. Number 7, Another 48 Hours, the sequel. A fun film. On this bus, they flipped over 47 times. Must have been fucking James Brown tape. I'm having a really bad day. Oh, they blew my car. It's a damn shame. It's a damn shame, Reggie. They just blew my car and all you gotta say is a damn shame? Well, no car, no money, you're having a really bad day. I haven't seen... I can't do fucking quotes that well. But Another 40 Hours, I've always enjoyed the sequel. Always had fun with the sequel. It's probably not as high as some others because it is pretty much a carbon copy of the first film, down to the ending where a guy has Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte, instead of just shooting the guy, shoots Eddie Murphy, then shoots the guy. And I'm like, wow, it's like how some people bitch about Steve from LA, but I saw Steve from LA first. That's the thing. With here, I saw 48 Hours first, and then I saw the sequel. Again, I really enjoy the sequel. It's in my favorites. It's at number 7, so it's high. It is a very enjoyable film. I don't understand why it should not be that hated on Another 48 Hours. But because it pretty much is recycling the first film to the point of they go to another bar, they get into another bar fight where Eddie Murphy kind of chastises the people there. It's like, do you really have to go that point by point? But again, it's like some people feel I escape from LA. But I still really like Another 48 Hours, so number 7. Number 6 is a film that got crapped on. I always had a fun with this. It's an Eddie Murphy film no one really talks about. The Distinguished Gentleman. I always liked The Distinguished Gentleman. I always had fun with this movie. I always forgot this was rated R, too. I don't know why. I always forget this was rated R. Right there, rated R. But I have fun. I have a lot of fun with The Distinguished Gentleman. I think Eddie Murphy is very funny. His wisecracking self. I like it a hell lot better than A Night Professor. I don't understand why this film was not a hit. I don't understand what people's problem with this film was. I found it hilarious. Basically a con man who cons his way into Congress. But I always enjoyed The Distinguished Gentleman. So that's why it's number 6. Number 5 is a film that I even more so do not understand why this film was not a fucking hit. Metro. I reviewed Metro before. I think it's still up. I know there's a guy on here who's not a big fan because he thinks it's basically another 48 Hours movie that copies too much. I have to respectfully disagree with that. Yes, it takes place in San Francisco, but this to me, I think of it more as a Beverly Hills Cop, the real Beverly Hills Cop 3, because it's Eddie Murphy as a cop, although this cop is also a hostage negotiator, but he's a cop. And he's using his wits like Axel Foley would use his wits. His mouth and his wits. And 48 Hours films, I think of them more as buddy movies. Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2 are not really buddy films. Same with this. I would not call this a buddy film. Because Michael Rappaport, he's not in the film that much. He comes in once in a while, then comes out. Once in a while comes in, but it's mostly Eddie Murphy's movie. And I'm fine with that. Because Eddie Murphy is bang on. The action works well. The scene with they had to stop this train car, this car, and they got to put their car right in front of it, and it's still skidding. The bad guy, Michael Wincott, played very well. Awesome bad guy. Solid action scenes. It's very funny. It's very entertaining. It's Eddie Murphy. This is the last time you see really Eddie Murphy as R-rated best. With his wit, his mouth. I agree with his reviews. Eddie Murphy is back in top form. 2 thumbs up. Murphy is funnier than ever. I agree. I mean, this film, for some reason, they put this out in fucking January. Why would you put this film out in fucking January? And people who hate this film, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's funny. Beverly Hills Cop 3 is not that funny. This film is funny. It's hilarious. Anyway, that's my opinion on Metro. It's a very, very underrated movie. Number 4 will have to be The First 48 Hours. It's a classic movie. You like the fist fight where you knock Ned Nolte on his ass and Ned Nolte kicks the garbage door. You little fucker! This fucking garbage! The original 48 Hours is a classic. This Jack, tell me a story. Fuck you! Oh, that's one of my favorites. 48 Hours is a fucking classic. Just hilarious. Number 3 would have to be Beverly Hills Cop 2. No, you understand. I gotta go deep, 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 deep undercover. Or like, I remember, Brigitte Nielsen, and when Brigitte Nielsen walks away, Eddie Murphy looks at her and goes, "Man, that's a big bitch." I just thought it was hilarious the way he said that. But what really makes this film work, the action is definitely brought up a notch because of Tony Scott. I also really like that they use more of Judge Reinhold and John Ashton. Like, they do get bigger roles in Beverly Hills Cop 2. Very, very entertaining film. Very fun film. Very funny film. Hilarious flick as well. That's number 3. But I also gotta put this above it. The original Beverly Hills Cop, which is my number 2. Because if I had to pick, I think this film is funnier. Beverly Hills Cop 2 is hilarious, but this one, I think, is a little bit funnier. A little bit more of the original aspect of Eddie Murphy being not knowing Beverly Hills and being, fish out of water story is more relevant in the first film. Of course, the great Harold Faltermeyer in the first and second film scores. Also, good songs. I mean, the second film is Shake Down, Break Down, You Busted. But it's a hilarious film where he's like, I got thrown out a fucking window! How the hell am I getting arrested? I got thrown out a fucking window! Oh god, shit, I forgot the rest of the fucking line. Like, what would happen? Like, something about, what would happen if I got run over? What would be charged with jaywalking? Or something like that. I know I fucked it up, but I can't do the lines that well. I mean, Eddie Murphy does them a lot better. But hilarious films. Just, what more can I say about Beverly Hills Cop? Maybe I'll do reviews for them one day down the road. But, of course, before I get to it, a recap. Since now this is an hour long. Number 10 on the worst. The worst. Beverly Hills Cop 3. Number 9, Imagine That. Number 8, Harlem Nights. Number 7, Adventures of Pluto Nash. Number 6, Holy Man. Number 5, Haunted Mansion. Number 4, Night Professor 1 and 2. Number 3, Life. Number 2, Vampire in Brooklyn. Number 1, Norbit. And then my favorites. Number 10, Trading Places. Number 9, yes, Daddy Daycare. Number 8, Showtime. Number 7, Another 40 Hours. Number 6, The Distinguished Gentleman. Number 5, Metro. Number 4, the original 48 Hours. Number 3, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Number 2, the original Beverly Hills Cop. And you had to know this would be my number 1. I did a long review for this film. It's still up. This film is very underrated. Eddie Murphy, from what I heard, when he was at an Oscars sometime, I don't know if it was around Dreamgirls or what, someone asked him what films did he regret? He said, off the bat, Pluto Nash and this film. And this film still gets hated. That VH1, I love the 80s, they shit on this film. Some of the people shit on this film. You see some lists of worst Eddie Murphy films, this film gets on some of those lists. Or they say, well, yeah, well, it's a guilty pleasure, maybe. Or, well, you laughed at the time because, it was Eddie Murphy in the 80s, but now it hasn't aged well. And each time some motherfucker said, granted, Eddie Murphy, it's his opinion. He has a right to his opinion. But I don't understand how this film can come up in his mind and that fucking... Yet he does films like 1,000 Words. Or fucking Pluto, like fucking Norbit. Vampire in Brooklyn. Fucking Haunted Mansion. Holy Man. This film is awesome. I love The Golden Child. It is my all-time favorite Eddie Murphy film. Not only because anytime I see this, I laugh my ass off. This film needs defending. People do not shit on Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2. They do not shit on 48 Hours. But they do shit on this film. And again, this is my all-time favorite. Because this is what I want. Fucking Haunted Mansion. And Vampire in Brooklyn. And some of this shit to be. Like this film. But he hates this film. So of course it's not going to be that way. It's Eddie Murphy at his fucking best. At his wit. His mouth. And he's just a regular guy. He's a good guy. He's a regular guy. In an extraordinary situation. Plus, it kind of reminds me of Big Trouble in Little China, which I love as well. Because I know John Carter was going to direct this film, but then that didn't happen, so he went and did Big Trouble in Little China. And this came out, both films came out the same year. And then this came out around Christmas, or that time, and Big Trouble in Little China came out in the summer. It was a box office hit, made $80 million, but, well, previously, the last year, Beverly Hills Cop came out, and that made hundreds of millions. So it wasn't that much of a hit. You know what that reminds me of? Fucking Cobra. Which, look and behold. See, there you go. Put us side by side. Both films, like Cobra, well, it made some money, but the year before, Stallone did Rocky IV and Rambo 2, and those were $100 million hits. But Cobra, it's a disappointment. They said the same thing about this one. Well, Beverly Hills Cop was a huge hit, but this came out the same year. Like, think about both these films. Side by side. Which is weird, actually. One guy's doing this and one guy's actually doing that. So it's kind of weird to see if I... There you go. Or maybe I do like, maybe, no, that wouldn't work. But I'll do this. Both films came out a year after the big success, Rambo 2 Rocky 4 or Beverly Hills Cop. Then these films come out, oh, they're not as good, they're shitty, they're bad, they still get a bad rep today. Yet, weirdly enough, and I didn't even think of this, they are my favorites. Colbert's my favorite Stallone. This is my favorite Eddie Murphy. I want the knife. I want the knife. Please. Shut up and pal. Yeah, I'm gonna pal. I'm gonna pal his ass when I find him. I'm gonna pal your ass when I find you. Yeah, I'm gonna roll your ass till it bleeds. Or, my sweet brother Numpsy. I see you busy right now. Be right back. Or, don't be alarmed. I just want some chips. Just want some chips. Hey, turn that over. It's burning. Hey, turn that over, man. It's burning. Or it's like, yak loin. Yak loin. Good to keep the yang up. Nothing wrong with my yang. It's just, or, what the hell was that thing? When Charlotte Lewis gives him the scroll, it's like, this looks like a big joint. You know what I think happened? I think there were two of them and you smoked one. Yeah, stop smoking scrolls. Just everything about this film just cracks me up. It just, how many people survive this test? None. 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 I'm gonna whip your ass right now. It just, I got the knife. Now turn the goddamn lights. Or, only one whose heart is as pure to drink this water, and only one whose ass is as narrow can walk down these steps. If mine is such an ass, I will make it so. Yeah, I fucked up the line, but watch the movie. I love this movie. I love this movie. I love it, love it, love it. It is my favorite Eddie Murphy film. Eddie, I don't know why you don't like this film. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't understand the hatred for this film. I don't understand the shitty business this film got. It doesn't deserve it. It's a kick-ass movie. I did a review for the film. It's an underrated comedy. You can check out my review. It's on my channel. I love The Golden Child. I love the action. I love Charlotte Lewis. Charles Dance is a great bad guy. I love the score. I think Michael Ritchie did a fine job directing. Eddie Murphy, I think, is at his best. He's very funny. He's witty. And really enough, this is a PG-13 film, but done right. I love this film. I love it. So, if you hate the film, be my guest. I just don't understand it. But anyway, sorry I didn't know this would take fucking an hour or over an hour, but that's my top 10 favorite and least favorite Eddie Murphy films. Hope you guys enjoyed or watched the whole thing. But either way, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you later. Ciao.